Hi, I'm Sai, and today I'm going to teach you how to make car posters like these. They're cool, right? And if your attention span is too short to watch this video, I can make one for you, you lazy boy. There's a link to my website below. This is using Photoshop, which if you don't have, you definitely shouldn't pirate because they're a really nice company. Definitely don't use free media heck yeah to help you. Alternatively, Paint.net and GIMP, like you little gimp, are great free alternatives. So, you'll enjoy this more painting a car you like. Here's one I did of my supercharged kitted IS200. But if you enjoy the suffering, you can do your Nan's Honda Jazz. Today I'm going to be doing a poster of my project car, this Nissan Fairlady 300ZX Z32 with forged internals, making just shy of an orgasmically stimulating 500 brake horsepower. It also has an original Veilside kit. Why is it a project car? It's a Copart special. Look at that. There'll be videos on this soon. Pic before I owned it, some neek on Reddit took of the Supras next to it, but I'll cry about that later. Anyway, enough of my bitching. Now start by opening Photoshop, click Create New Art and Illustration tab, click Poster, and then create or use these dimensions. Next we're going to make the background black. Go to Edit, Fill, Contents, Black, click OK. Find the image of the car you want to use and drag it on in and scale it up, and then find and fix why the fuck Scrubby Zoom isn't working. Go to Edit, Preferences, Performance, turn on Use Graphics Processor if you have a graphics card that isn't busy mining Bitcoin, restart Photoshop. Yay, Scrubby Zoom. Now, start by making a new layer and use a relatively small brush to do outlines around the car. The outline silhouette of the car will be a bit thicker than the details within it. I'm using a size 10 brush here. I use a bit of smoothing to help with the corners and curves. Hold Shift and click and it will create a line between the last drawing point and the place you just clicked. This isn't very noticeable zoomed out when used on flatter and less curved areas of the car. Once you're happy with the outlines, make the brush a few pixels smaller and start with the details on the car, the lights, grille, side skirts, etc. When you want to take a look at how it's going to look against the background, zoom out and click the eye icon next to the car image layer on the bottom right, and it'll just show the background against the white lines. Sometimes it's better to zoom out to be able to see the lines and subtle changes in a car's panels than to zoom in. Or maybe it's just my eyes straining 2 inches away from the monitor. Like here, the subtle curves of the bumper are hard to see with the contrast of the white lines I've drawn next to it. You can always flick your line layer off and zoom out and have a cheeky gander. This method I find especially useful when tracing the wheels, as they're usually shit, low resolution phone pics, can be a bastard to trace sometimes. Don't forget to do the details within the light assemblies and seams in between lights, panels, etc. The more of this detail you get now, the better. You can use the R key to rotate the entire image window, which is especially useful for drawing details more comfortably if you're using a graphics tablet or a mouse. Also, to stop you from accidentally drawing on the car layer instead of the new layer above it, I would recommend locking that layer. It will prevent you raging later on. You don't have to draw every detail, especially ones you don't like. If your car has a crusty lacquer peel, then obviously don't. Or if you have a custom plate in the windscreen, you could include that. Or not, in your clapped out Corsa. Here you can see me wanting to kill myself as I try to figure out the shape of the wheel behind the Supra and end up just using a circle with an outline to extend what I already know. Even though zoomed in, the details on the wheel don't make a huge amount of sense, zoomed out it still looks good. And that's what matters, the poster as a whole. As you can see, I struggle for a while to get the rear end of the car looking quite right. I end up using online references of the same car to help me, and eventually I'm happy with it. Here I go onto the front of the car, adding the details in the grille, and later I'll have a zoom out and decide that the grid pattern by the plate looks shit and adds too much white to the front of the car, and decide it looks better with just the grille, just behind the nose panel in the end, so it keeps it less cluttered with that colour. I then add some more details to the light assemblies and other parts of the car. I begin on the wheels by choosing a direction for the light to hit the spokes. I decide for the light to be coming from the top down, as shown by the red arrow. As I colour in certain sides of the spokes, I think about how the light would be hitting it. You don't have to get it perfect, but the continuity of this helps to sell the effect. I create a new highlight layer and begin using the brush to block out shapes of the body of the car. These will be blocks of white light making up highlights. The next step is blocking in these highlights, in this two-tone effect as I demonstrated with these previous posters. I choose to hide the car image layer as I don't need it so much anymore. I use a mixture of making the brush flow with the car's natural shape to create these highlights and also paying attention to where the natural highlights on the original photo was by flicking the car layer on and off. The easiest way to fill in drawn shapes I've found is to draw your empty shapes with the brush, use the magic wand tool, hold shift and select the space inside all these shapes. Go to the select tab at the top, modify, expand 5 pixels or so. Just make sure it's less than the width of your brush, and then go to Edit, Fill, and choose white as the colour, and then press Done. With the windscreen, I like to do more dynamic shapes to be reflections while the car is driving, etc. Sometimes it helps to zoom out and have a look over the car and find spots that look a bit bland or empty, and go in and block some shapes in. I use long straight lines along the screen to show it's still glass. I like to keep in mind the imaginary light source we came up with earlier a little bit, but you'll see I absolutely contradict myself about that loads. I like to go around and clean up lines and filled areas consistently as I work. Remember, you can always use the lasso tool to grab areas and manipulate them. That's why it's helpful to separate your layers to make moving them about and making changes to specific parts later on easier. Create a new background layer under the car and begin drawing some lines past the car. You can do whatever you like here, I just enjoy adding some other elements behind it. I would usually do another illustration at the back of the car as well from the same kind of angle like in my other posters, but this works to show the process. I then put the make and model of the car at the top of the poster. You can put the name of your car if it has one, an F-150 named Gorlock or your Fiat 500 Pringle, it really doesn't matter. Really, just go mad with it and do whatever you like. I drew some cherry tree blossom on top of the car, did bits of blossom flying about, and then decided to go full Japanese stereotype and add a big white sun in the background. I was going to draw Mount Fuji behind, but I decided I was verging on being cancelled and put in prison by Keir Starmer. The most important takeaway is just to enjoy having fun and making stuff, and show me what you make. My Instagram is 300.therapy. Thank you all for watching, take care, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!